G'day, welcome to the Happy Families podcast as we inch closer to Christmas, Friday the 12th of December. A lot to talk about today. First off, Kylie and I have been away for the last couple of weeks with the family, celebrating my 50th birthday, and there is some stuff to talk about when it comes to I'll Do Better Tomorrow. But as we always do on a Friday, there's a little bit of This Week in Parenting. Oh my goodness, has Australia gone bonkers? Global attention is on this country as a result of the minimum age legislation for social media. With age limits, if you're under 16, you can no longer be on social media. I got a little bit of a special invite to a fancy shindig. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more in today's episode of the podcast. Stay with us. It's all coming up next. Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, where you get real parenting solutions every single day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. My name's Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm here with Mrs. Happy Families, my wife and mum to our 6 children, Kylie. And Kylie, let's just crack on straight away because there's so much to talk about and people are busy. This Week in Parenting.
Well, Wednesday was a pretty big day across the country.
Around the world.
Hello, we start in Australia because in a few hours' time, the social media ban for children under the age of 16 will come into effect. The legislation's aimed at protecting children from cyberbullying, online predators and harmful content.
The eyes of the world were upon Australia. Social media legislation finally implemented.
And you got an unexpected special invite.
Yeah, I did. A little bit of a flex here. I got an email from the Communications Minister, her office, Minister Wells, and went to Kirribilli House on Wednesday, the residence of the Prime Minister, with maybe 40 or 50 other people to celebrate the implementation of the new legislation.
And here we were thinking all of your travel had finished.
I know, yeah, last trip of the year. In and out in one day.
You were. You said there's about 40 people there.
Yeah.
Who was there?
So Julian McGrant, the Safety Commissioner, who's obviously running the show, as well as the Communications Minister, Annika Wells, the Prime Minister, was there. And in terms of the people who were invited, I think I was the only quote-unquote parenting expert that was there. Mainly, it was families who have experienced the devastating impact of where social media goes wrong. So parents who have lost their children because they've been bullied online or because they've been sextorted online or because they've endured horrendous hardship. It was Fitzy and Whipper from Nova in Sydney. Michael Whippley. Whipper was the MC for the day. He has been involved in a not-for-profit that's been really pushing, let's wait 36 months. Let's push it from 13 to 16 before kids are online. And so he and a bunch of the people involved in that work, they were there. It was a really select and really, I think, important, meaningful group of people who were in attendance.
What was the general vibe as you were there with? I mean, these parents have
to stand shoulder to shoulder,
experience the unspeakable, the unimaginable, and to be able to be there and not only acknowledge them, but say, we want to do something about this.
People like Daniel Archie from the Heads Up Alliance, he was there. The vibe was, there were many tears. I mean, these people who have been affected catastrophically, like you said, unspeakably, horrendously, awfully. And to stand beside them was just humbling, honestly. But the vibe was generally so positive. I mean, these are people who are saying, well, gosh, we've been begging for this for years. This thing has happened. The journalist who has really driven the News Corp Let Them Be Kids campaign was there running that. I mean, it was a really, really great vibe.
You actually haven't shared a lot about the day with me. What was your highlight? What was your take home? What was your...
Oh, yeah. So basically we showed up. Everyone has to wait on the street because the police have to let you in and you've got to be checked and everything. And when we all just showed up. We got to hang out on the back deck looking out over the harbour, and a few of us snuck inside of the living room and got a photo in front of Albo's Christmas tree, which was very nice. But basically, there was quite a big press conference and then a lot of, I guess, socialising. In the press conference, two things. Everybody spoke brilliantly. It was so well done. And I wish I could, we don't have time for everybody, but I wish I could talk about everybody's comments. But there was one thing that really stood out to me that the Prime Minister said, and that was as he was drawing his remarks to a close, he was really magnanimous and pointed to Peter Dutton, the former opposition leader, and talked about how without his support, this wouldn't have happened as well. So this was a real bipartisan effort. And as a political leader who's saying, look what we've done, this is a big deal, aren't we awesome? For him to pause and say, this is actually not about politics, this is about our kids. Both sides of politics were behind this. Both sides of politics gave it their all. It passed. This legislation passed in extraordinarily fast time, given the complexities around it, and it was because of the opposition supporting the government in getting it through. So that was just
a nation coming together in unity.
Yeah. That was a genuine highlight. It was sort of a goosebumps moment because you just don't see politicians giving a lot of credit to the opposition very often. The other thing that was a true highlight, I'm going to have him on the podcast next year. I've almost done it a couple of times. There's a wonderful man by the name of Wayne Holdsworth. His son, Mac, took his life after being sextorted a couple of years ago, and he's created a charity and does a lot of work to help save lives. And his work has been directly linked to a large number of kids who have literally said, I would not be here today if you hadn't come and talked to me at the school today. This guy's just doing great work. And when I'm getting teary talking about it, when Wayne spoke to the audience and to the press conference, I mean, it was just chills. He was brilliant. And right at the very end, he looked up to the heavens and just pointed up and said, this is for you, Mac. And it was just heartbreaking. And for me, it just highlighted why this legislation matters so much. You've got all these people who are out there saying, "Oh, it's an infringement on our rights and our civil liberties. This is the government's way to get backdoor into everybody's digital identities." Blah blah blah. No, it's actually not. This is about kids. This is about families. This is about parents getting the support they need. This is about making a difference. These are the same people who are complaining, by the way, who probably complain that we have to wear seatbelts. Like, get over yourself. This is good legislation. So they were the highlights. They were the things that made it really worth being there.
It feels a little bit jarring to kind of move on from that conversation and continue, but we need to. In light of the ban, what are kids doing now that the ban is in place?
Oh, yeah, I know. So the newspapers are full of stories about how kids are getting around the ban. We knew this would happen. This is not a surprise. The newspaper just loves a scandal, and now the government's done it. They were behind it, but now there's problems with it. No legislation's going to... I feel like I'm an apologist for the government. I'm not. But we need to give this time. Kids are going to get around it. Our daughter called me on Wednesday afternoon and said, this is Lily. She's 15. She's about to turn 16. But at this very moment, she's not supposed to be on social media. She said, Dad, I haven't been kicked off the platforms. And it was so beautiful. She said, would you like me to just delete them anyway? And I actually said to her, well, because of the podcasting, because we want to be across what's going on, could you just keep it for another few days because we want to see what happens? And so she still hasn't been kicked off. And so this is really interesting for us to watch the way the tech companies are implementing this. The other thing that's happening is that teenagers are using their big brother's face or their, for the boys, or their big sister's face for the girls, or they're lying about their age, or they are just transferring to new platforms that are not covered by the ban. So in some ways, this is going to be a game of whack-a-mole. But I think over the next 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, that's when we're going to see this happen. Like any legislation, it doesn't just start and everything is right. So that's where we're up to.
I also think, though, while it might not necessarily have the impact that we would love it to have on our 14, 15-year-olds now, as a community, we become more aware of the dangers. It's the children that are coming up behind this teenage group that are really going to benefit from it. If we can back it, if we can actually, kind of recognize that handing over a smartphone to a 12-year-old is just, kind of asking for trouble. If we can, kind of prolong our children getting onto social media platforms, it's the kids that haven't yet experienced it who are actually going to benefit the most from what you guys have been fighting for.
Yeah, totally. This is a long game. This is not oh my goodness, the new legislation is in and now everything is fine.
Yeah.
It's not even close. This is
you
about...
look at how long it's taken us to get to this point. Yep. It's going to take that much time again for us to kind of find the new space that will protect children in the way we hope.
Albo made the comment about alcohol. He's like, we've got a rule, a law, and that is that if you're under 18, you don't drink. Now, there are 1 million kids a year who are breaking that law. But we've drawn a line in the sand, and there is some enforcement, but more than anything, it just gives parents who really want their kids to stay off alcohol they're able to say, you know what, it's against the law. We're not going to endorse this. We're not going to. So that's what we're doing. Anyway, that was my wonderful experience at Kirribilli, and that's this week in parenting. Big stuff. Up next, let's review our getaway to Queenstown, where we asked our children to get on a bike and ride non-stop for 4 days for my birthday. We're back. This is the Happy Families Podcast, real parenting solutions every single day. Okay, Kylie, I've been looking forward to Show and Tell. I've been looking forward to Newsday, and we would have spent a lot more time on the holiday, but it's been a big week with the social media stuff. For my 50th, we booked a family holiday to go and ride the Otago Rail Trail. It
was your heart's desire to put us through the ringer.
Yeah. I actually said we're going to do something hard because our kids don't do enough hard things. For my birthday, we are going to ride 152 kilometres with 10 people. You and I, the oldest, our 6 children, plus our son-in-law and our 2-year-old granddaughter.
So we aged from 50 down to 2.
Yeah, 4 days, 152 Ks, rain.
With 2 riders in the pack.
Yeah, you and I are the only ones that actually ride. And we said to the kids, this will be memorable. You'll decide why. That's pretty much how it worked out. This will be memorable. You decide why it will be memorable and how it will be memorable. And it was memorable.
Well, I'm going to put you under the bus a little bit.
Oh.
It started off memorable.
For all the wrong reasons.
For all the wrong reasons.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, I was dealing with enduring food poisoning. I bought a banh mi from a place in Springwood and in South Brisbane, and oh my goodness, like 2 weeks later and I was still in all sorts of trouble. But then we arrived at the airport on the morning we were supposed to fly to Queenstown to discover that our youngest child, Emily's passport had expired. So I waved goodbye to you and the rest of the family while Emily and I drove back into Brisbane to the passport office so that we could get an emergency passport. And then while we were at the passport office, they wouldn't give me an emergency passport because
they needed my signature.
You need to consent to our daughter getting a passport. Otherwise, it looks like I'm trying to steal our daughter and fly her out of the country tomorrow.
So the last thing I did on the tarmac was to send you a picture with my passport.
With your face saying, I consent.
I consent. Let them come.
And they said, not good enough. And then they told me that because of the time zone difference and when you were landing and you weren't going to be able to talk to the embassy and confirm and consent and we'd have to wait till Monday. I just looked at her like, well, I might as well not go to New Zealand. Forget it. It's over. My 50th birthday has just gone down the toilet. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, long story short, we found some solutions. They were flexible and worked with us, and you got to give consent in a way that was still within the rules, and we got the passport. So Saturday instead of Friday, I flew out to Queenstown. You guys...
But that meant that you actually missed the first day of our trail ride.
Which sounds like it was the hardest... most brutal, miserable day on a bike that you could have.
It really was. We were riding through 30-kilometre headwinds, and to the point where the kids, who are not obviously experienced riders,
they're not cyclists,
and they're not strong on a bike, they actually had to weave the path. They couldn't drive a straight line. Like it was,
which is funny because rail trails don't have steep hills. Like it's the ascent. The ascent is there.
It wasn't the ascent.
Oh, it was just how windy it was.
It was the wind. Right. And so halfway through the ride, I've seen one of the children up ahead. They've stopped. I've shown up. She's having a full-blown panic attack.
Tears.
She was an absolute mess, could not breathe. She was losing the plot. And so I had to...
I've still got another 127 kilometres.
And I'm like, why does this always happen when you're not here? So no, I had to talk her through that. Yep. I managed to work my way with her through that. And then 5 kilometres up the road, I've caught up with one of our other daughters, and she literally, I don't know how she stayed upright. She was moving so slowly because the wind was so bad, and she was weaving and just... Honestly, how she stood up, I don't know. But she was bawling her eyes out. Yep. And she was like, I can't do this. She said, there is no way I can do this for 4 days. This is the worst. Like she was just having a meltdown.
And meanwhile, Emily and I were sitting on the plane flying across to Queenstown and thinking, I can't wait to get there.
And I thought, if we've got to do 4 days of this, I just think this is going to be an absolute
We gave the
disaster.
kids nearly a year's notice and said, go out and practice riding. Like, spend some time, get some kilometres in your legs, improve your fitness so that this is not too hard. We gave them so much notice. And you know how many bike rides they had?
0.
They literally didn't get on the bike.
0. So day 2, we finally are reunited as a whole family. You join us. You've got fresh legs. Yeah. We're like, I'm not sure if we want to do this
Everyone's
again.
Everyone's like, I don't want to go for a bike ride.
And it was,
my bum hurts.
It was Emily's turn. This was day 1 for her. She's 11.
Yeah.
And she rode 41 kilometres.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for a kid who's never done that, let alone not done regular riding.
Smashed it.
She did exceptional.
Also got to highlight on both day 1 and day 2, which were the 2 hardest days without question, our eldest, Chanel, and her husband, Jared, even though they were dealing with a 2-year-old, super team players, super support. This is the great thing about big kids. If they can be a team player, they were happy to ride beside the kids, give them encouragement, give them food, give them a push on the back and help them to keep on going. It was so good to see the team player thing. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, what about the hay fever?
Oh, my goodness.
I had to buy a box of 90 antihistamines because the kids' faces were swelling up.
We were literally watching, what do you call those little fluffy things?
The
dandelion blow things. They were literally just like through the whole sky.
Yep.
And some of our kids don't actually suffer from hay fever generally. They were going nuts. But our one daughter, who actually does suffer fairly regularly.
Face was puffy.
Her
breathe.
Eyes were just, she was in agony.
Happy birthday to me.
And I did forget to mention, because this is actually a highlight for me, when our daughter was having the big meltdown on day 1, I've talked to her lots about, kind of the idea that at any moment in time, any event that we experience, it's a neutral experience. It's not positive or negative until we decide.
Yeah, it's our cognition. It's the way the values or the ideals or the way that we choose to interpret it that makes it good or bad.
Yeah. And so I said to her, I know that what you're doing is really hard right now. I said, we're all doing it hard. We've all got different thresholds for hard, but we're doing it hard. And I said, so knowing and understanding that our thoughts matter, what's another thought that you could have right now that would be helpful? Because the one you're having is crushing your soul.
Other than, I hate this and I want to go home.
And she literally screamed at me on the track and she said, it doesn't make any difference. She was so mad. It was interesting because 3 days later, I'm on the track and I'm done. I've got no pep in my step. I was really struggling, and she kind of slowed down so she could catch up with me. She's like, Mama, how you doing? And I said, actually, you know what? I'm doing a bit tough today. And she kind of looked at me and she said, make sure you choose good thoughts, and rode off. And I thought the irony of this kid who told me 2 days earlier that thoughts made no difference.
Well, the funny thing about that as well is that I caught up with her riding beside our youngest, Emily, literally having exactly the same conversation with her. You get to choose your thoughts. I'm right here with you. You've got this. You've been so strong all the way. But this was the thing. And this is why I wanted to do the holiday. By the way, the views were stunning. It wasn't all hard. The kids came together really well, and we had experiences that we will remember for the rest of our lives. And the critical thing for me is the kids came together. They supported each other. They worked on hard things. And genuinely, the highlight for me was when we got in the bus and we had like a 2.5 hour drive back to Queenstown. It was all over, 3 hour drive back to Queenstown when it was done. We went around the bus because the 10 of us filled up the bus, and we said to all the kids, well, what were your highlights? And they just spoke in such glowing terms about how much they'd loved the holiday, the bike riding. They loved the fact that they did something hard, that they were away from their screens. They were doing something that was incompatible with being on a screen, and it felt freeing for them. But the absolute best feedback of all was that several of the kids said, we'd like to do something like this again. When can we book another trip?
For me, I look at all of these little moments and I honestly do wish that we'd had a videographer follow us, because there were so many moments where two children were riding side by side and one had a hand on the back of the other because they were struggling, or there was three across the path, or just, the baby on the side of the road decided she just had enough and she was going to walk the path.
The 2-year-old meltdowns were pretty spectacular.
She was going to walk the path. She was done riding. She was just going to walk.
That's rough. You're 2 years old. You're sitting in the back of one of those carriages, or you're sitting on a baby seat on the back of a bike. It's cold. You're not exercising. The whole thing.
And nobody's talking to you.
Yeah.
Because you're behind.
Yeah. This was a real challenge for Chanel, Jared, and Indy, and everyone did it with flying colours. It was just such a treat. I can't recommend it highly enough. The Otago Rail Trail. It's not sponsored. We don't get anything for it. We didn't get a discount for the thing. We paid full freight, and it was not the cheapest trip we've ever done. But it was it was a highlight. It was a real delight, and I'm excited about doing another thing like that again as well.
So if you were going to round out the holiday, what's your take-home message?
Doing things that are incompatible with screens and that are challenging are vastly better than sitting on a beach and staring at a screen and doing nothing. That's really what it is. And the way the kids responded to it is what really drives that home for me. I mean, the reality is I would much rather go on a surfing trip and please myself, right? I'd much rather just eat nice food by the beach. I get it. But I'd rather choose enlargement rather than happiness. And this was enlarging, and not just for me, but for the whole family. I was going to say I can't think of a better 50th birthday present. I actually can. I'm not going to lie. I can, but I'm not going to go into that here. I'm really glad that we chose to do it, and another trip like that is very much on my agenda. I'm already looking at options, and Emily can't wait to do it in Japan. So that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
I mean, it might take us a few years to save up, but...
Are you going to ask me what my take home is?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm so sorry. We're out of time, and I was about to wrap it up. But let's just wrap it up with your take-home message. So
as we did a debrief with the kids on our last night around the fire, I asked them...
So funny. Here we are sitting in the middle of an Australian hot summer, and 2 weeks ago we were literally sitting around the fire going, oh, my goodness, it's so cold.
We had friends do this trip, and that's why we decided to do it.
Yeah.
They described it as idyllic. The weather was perfect.
Yes.
We literally rode through rain and, 8 degrees and, like I said, 30 kilometre headwind. It was so hard. But when I asked them what their biggest learning was, one of the kids just said, I'm so grateful that you taught us from such a young age that we can do hard things. She said, because this was really hard and I didn't want to come. And she said, but I did something really hard and it feels good. And
this is resilience building, right?
And for me, outside of putting them into an uncomfortable setting and asking them to do something hard, what I loved the most and my take home is that when we're willing to show up, we get to have experiences that edify and build relationships. And coming from backgrounds and families where often there are individuals who choose not to show up, that is the greatest blessing in my life and yours. I love that our kids choose to come home.
The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research and admin and a whole lot of other support. And if you would like more information about making your family happier, we'd love for you to visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.